This is Bob Sugarman.
And Sally Sugarman.
And welcome to Theater Talk.
Today, we're at Bennington College. Our guest is Patrick Harnett-Marshall, a Bennington College student who is directing Irene Fornes' Obie Award-winning play, The Danube. Welcome, Patrick. Tell us about this play and why you chose to direct it.
Hi. It's great to be here. Thank you. So I chose this play about a year ago. I had read a lot of Irene Fornes' work, like her most famous plays, Mud and Pfeffu and Her Friends, which are great plays written in the 70s and 80s that broke a lot of ground when they premiered off Broadway. And I was looking for a play that I thought I might be able to put up here, and I found The Danube, which she adapted from an old Hungarian to English language tape that she found in a thrift store in New York when she was looking for another play to do. And so she wrote this play. The first draft was just text she had found from this old vinyl tape that she rearranged around a bit and put into scenes. And then she premiered that version, and then she wrote a later draft about this American businessman that comes to Hungary, that meets a family there, that falls in love, that decides to stay, and then a terrible catastrophe hits Budapest. That nobody ever knows about, and that is never completely defined. That is really interesting to talk about and to think about. And so she wrote this earlier draft, which was just text from the tape, and then she wrote a later draft that mixed the text she had found with her own writing. And so you get this really short, spare, beautiful, kind of crushing play that happens all within an hour. That sounds completely different from anything I think anyone's ever really heard before, because it's all text she found and cut and copied and used, and I thought that was awesome. So I thought, let's put it on.
Is this your senior project?
Yep. In every term, a student generally gets to direct in one of our bigger theaters, our Margot Tenney. And it's like a nice big black box theater with lots of room for an audience, and it's just really lucky that students get to use it to put on a project of their choice. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun rehearsing in there and performing in a week. I'm really nervous and excited and freaking out like all the time, and devoting almost every waking hour to this play. And
have you directed before?
I've directed smaller things. I've directed in class. I've directed kind of our kind of drama community here at Bennington puts little pop-up projects up. Like we have our 24-hour plays. We have our playwrights that have written something and want to throw it up. So I've directed little things like that. But this kind of sustained 7-week thing is completely new for me, and it's a ride. Yeah.
What sort of work did you do before rehearsal on this play?
You have to read a lot of Irene, because she really brought some avant-garde techniques from France and from Europe in the 60s to America that weren't really known before. And she's also very distinctive herself, and she reinvented herself a lot. She had a really long career, and she's kind of impossible to pin down or describe in any one way. So you have to read a lot of her plays to get a good sense of her dramaturgy. So the first thing I did was I read about 10 of her plays, and kind of tried to get into her head and her heart and her soul. And then I researched Hungary in the late 1930s, because that's the setting. I tried to get a sense of kind of the cultural ambiance, which is really interesting and nostalgic, and also scary. Very scared for the immediate future, for the possibility of another world war. And then I decided, and then I tried to get a cultural sense of the 1980s, which was when the play was written, because she wrote it in 1984 in the background of the early AIDS crisis. which was not yet really talked about on a national scale. And so this is a play about a huge, sudden, very, very scary thing that hits some people and makes them very sick. And the whole play is about social ignorance, or what the characters are and aren't able to talk about because their language is confined to this little language tape, and more is happening around them. So the culture of the 80s was really important for me to kind of get my head into.
So how did you work with the actors? Because this seems that so much has to come through in terms of the acting.
Yeah, it's in a way. So the time frame is kind of truncated. You have 7 weeks, which is a healthy amount of time, but we're all putting this on in between all of our classes and our theses and that sort of thing. So in a way, the time frame is kind of a blessing, because you really get to focus and say, okay, we have about 2 or 3 spare hours to do exercises outside of scene work for the whole process, maybe 3 to 5. So we choose them very carefully, and we're very kind of loving, and we kind of take every hour very, very seriously, and are very, very, very pointed and directed, I guess, in terms of using our time well. In terms of acting it, the tape plays during the production, and then the actors speak the lines, and the line plays in English and then in Hungarian, and then the actor says it. And the beautiful thing about that is, especially in certain scenes, you could have activity going on stage that tells a completely different story from what the tape is sounding like before the actors speak. So you kind of get one scene going on out there with the sound playing for the audience, and then a completely different scene on stage, or a slightly different scene on stage that illuminates the subtext. But it's tough. Irene is a tough cookie, you know? But a lot of it is being very precise technically, while also just being very free emotionally in terms of following our emotional impulses, because the language is very simple. And the actors actually have a lot of time on stage when that tape is playing to kind of feel that sort of emotional sizzle inside, or however the actor wants to define it, so they could really be alive on stage.
I'm just wondering, what sort of design is there for this production? You're working in the black box. Mm-hmm. What have you done to it? We struggled a long time for that, because how do you bring sort of this old 1930s language tape to life on stage? What's the visual metaphor, or what's the identity of the set? We ended up using these postcards. So we have about 10 painted backdrops of Budapest, and of certain specific streets of the Danube River itself, which runs straight through Budapest. And of certain interiors that are very important in the play, and we have this beautiful kind of wooden stage that's slightly raked, and we have this red curtain hung up in the back that makes the whole thing feel like we kind of put a smaller stage inside the theater already. So we have this kind of toy set space, or this kind of very tourist friendly space with these postcards hung. And then we have a lot of action that sometimes conforms to that space when Paul, the American businessman in the play, is being new to Budapest and is being introduced to the city and is falling in love with this girl. And then we have some action that really doesn't conform to the space, like when Paul falls sick and when he has to tell Eve that he has to leave to go to this sanatorium to get better. So that's kind of our identity. It's kind of like this very, very friendly, welcoming kind of welcome to the 1930s, different time, different place, and then we cover it with snow, and we try to transform it.
It sounds quite exciting. What is the role of the faculty in this? I mean, have you got a faculty advisor?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah, Kirk Jackson
a great teacher here is my faculty advisor. He really helps me. He's a great director. He's really perceptive, and he's he's perceptive in a different way than I am. So his notes are really helpful. Michael Giannitti, the lighting and technical director here, helps us out a lot. So does Mike Rancourt, who helps us building our sets. So we have a lot of oversight, and we're really well taken care of. At the same time, it's a lot of rehearsal, and everyone's really busy. So for basically all of it, we can't help but be on our own with the text, with this new project that doesn't read like a play that we've experienced before generally. So we kind of take a leap of faith with any Margot Tenney play, and especially and with this one too. So it's a very independent process of discovery.
Now that you've been in rehearsal all this time, has your understanding of the play changed as you've worked on it?
Yes, like 100%. 100%. So I spent about a year on and off checking back with the play because I chose it about a year and a half ago, and I got and it's very short, very sweet, very simple, and very tender. And then before rehearsals started, and especially after I heard the actors speak the lines, I started really thinking about the fact that this is a play. This is a love story, but where each word is spoken before the characters already speak it. And so it's a play in a way about words being put into people's mouths and wishing that you could say more than that you have the ability to say. And that kind of aspect became very alive on stage, and it became a play about sort of the limits of how much we could understand, and kind of the fact that we always have to deal with living in the unknown to a certain extent. Very real in the sense that there are social realities that we wish we could know more about, and that we feel deprived of in terms of learning more about. And also in a sort of ontological sense, there's always a limit in terms of how much we could get to know another person, even another person very close to us. So it became very much about this kind of how much can the actors live and show with this very sparse text, right? It's very hard to describe, but my own kind of my own feelings for the play changed immensely, and the flavor of the play, in terms of how I experienced it, changed a lot.
We're going to have to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors, but we'll be right back.